Welcome to the Ray's Room Drift Throw Crochet Along video series, where I'll be guiding you through all of the technical bits of the drift throw pattern. I'll be sharing a new section of the pattern each week on the Craft Life blog at raysroom.co.uk. So next up I'm going to show you row 12, the ruffle row, and we're going to start here with a chain of 1, and then we're just going to work some double crochets into each stitch. So the first stitch right at the base of your chain of 1, we're going to pop our hook in, pull up 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, and then do another one in each of the next 3 stitches, as you'd expect with a double crochet. Now we've come to the point where we need a ruffle stitch, and for every time you need to make 1 ruffle stitch, you are going to make 4 double crochets. So ordinarily when working a stitch, we would go under both strands of the top of the stitch, and those would be classed as the front loop and the back loop. So that's those 2 there, which is how we've been placing our double crochets. So that would be classed as the back loop, that as the front loop, and we're also going to be using now this loop here, which I'm going to call the third loop. So for every time you're asked to work 1 ruffle stitch, you're going to work 2 in the third loop here and 2 in the front loop here, leaving and therefore not working anything into the back loop here. So we're working double crochets again, and for our ruffle stitch that looks like this. So we're going to pop our hook under the third loop, which is the one just under the front loop, and make a double crochet, go in again that same place and make another double crochet, and then you just need to tuck behind to get into the front loop, go under the front loop for 1 double crochet, and then in there again for another double crochet, and that is classed as 1 ruffle stitch. So if the pattern calls for 2 ruffle stitches, that means you need to come along into the next stitch along and do the same 4 double crochets again in the same places. So that's 2 under this third loop here, and then just come behind it and pop 2 under the front loop there. And again, you'll see that that leaves the back loop available just here, and we're going to need that in the next row. So here you can see your ruffle has formed. So that's 2 ruffle stitches there. You can see each one creates a little bit of a bump, and that has happened because we've put lots of stitches into one. So next the pattern will call for double crochets again, and when it does, you're just going to work them into the very next double crochet along, and we're going under both strands of the top of the stitch again. And then you're just going to follow the pattern along on the blog, which tells you when to do double crochets and when to do your ruffle stitches until the row is complete. So once you've completed your ruffle row, we're going to move on to the next row now. And although it is just a row of half trebles, which you already know how to do, I just wanted to talk to you a bit about where you're going to place them when you come to your ruffles. So working your half trebles into your double crochets is just as you would expect. You're just going under both strands of the top of the double crochet. So that's whenever you come to a normal double crochet. But when we come up to a ruffle stitch, we need to make sure that we don't place any stitches into the tops of the stitches that make up the ruffle stitches. Instead, when we come to work a half treble into where we've done a ruffle stitch, we're actually going to work into the loop that we left behind on row 11 when we worked our ruffle stitches on row 12. So to create the ruffle stitch, we worked under the third loop and the front loop that was facing us at the time, and that left from row 11 this little loop here. And we are going to use that loop now when we need to work a half treble crochet, but we've come to a ruffle stitch from the row below. So you're just going to yarn over, pop your hook under that loop, hook the yarn, bring it back through to the front, yarn over, pull through all 3. So the same as you would with a half treble, and then we're going to the next double crochet along, because there was just 1 ruffle there for me on this sample piece. The number of double crochets and ruffle stitches here will be different for you, and that's all detailed in the pattern. This piece I'm working on is just for demo, so it's not got the same numbers. But wherever you've worked a ruffle stitch, you'll have one of these little loops available. So if you've worked 3 ruffle stitches, you'll have 3 of those loops available, so you need to do 1 half treble in each of those. So 1 in there, 1 in there, 1 in there, not working anything into any of the 4 double crochets that make up the ruffle stitch. And then once you've done a half treble into every one of the loops that's available for every ruffle stitch you did, you can then go back to half treble crocheting into the tops of each of your double crochets again like this. And that's it. You can just work your way along the row. Don't forget to hit follow if you're not following already. Save this video so that it's easier to get back to later. And for further help and support with the pattern, you can join the Raise Room Crafters Facebook group or the Raise Room WhatsApp community. Let me know in the comments if you found this helpful, if you've got any questions at all, and I'll see you on the next one.